Hi, Juliana. How you doing?
Hey,
Can you hear me all right? Is everything good?
yeah, how are you?
Good. I'm good. My name is Max. Max Ralstead. It's nice to meet you.
Max, how are you? That video was hilarious. I was like, oh my God, this is epic.
That was totally their idea. They just made me look bad. They just made me embarrass myself. Yes.
So good. I was loving it. I was loving every second. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk to you today,
Hi,
honestly.
Juliana. I just want to say hi. I'm glad you liked the video we did.
I loved it. Oh my God, I literally was freaking out. I sent it to my whole family. I was
Oh,
like,
Hell yeah,
that's awesome.
that's awesome.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
It's fun. We're gonna
also,
keep
Max, I wrote College Quits about a guy named Max. So I think it's the funniest thing that in the video you're like, hey, Max.
Wow,
That's
that is
awesome.
bizarre. Okay.
I'm Juliana, and I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm born and raised, still live here now.
So, Call It Quits.
Yeah,
Released Call It Quits at the end of September, correct? And
correct.
that was your debut single, which is really crazy to believe because it sounds like so polished and professional. I feel like it could already be like topping charts, honestly. That's not just like bluster. I feel like it's really good.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Could you tell me about the inspiration for it and like, what led up to it?
Yeah, for sure. So I wrote College Quits about a really toxic 3-year-long relationship that I was most recently in. And it was one of those, out-of-body experiences where you kind of look back at that relationship and you think to yourself, who was I? I don't recognize myself at all. That's not me. You kind of go through these like self-reflection thoughts because it was so out of body, and that's kind of what I was going through in that relationship for 3 years. So it was a lot of built up energy, and I think the combination between going through a lot of like mental stress with quarantine and COVID happening, my body mentally was just not in the right headspace, and I was super emotional. And then the night I actually wrote College Quits, I had no intention of writing music. I was genuinely just watching TV in my apartment alone, kind of in this weird headspace with everything going on. I mean, rightfully so. I think a lot of people were in this dark space at that time because it was in the very, very beginning of quarantine.
Okay.
And then I ended up, my phone vibrated and I looked down and it was my ex. And that was it just brought back all these other toxic environments and like energies that I was already feeling. So at that point, something just clicked in me, and I looked at my guitar, it was just staring at me at that point, and I picked it up, wrote College Quits in under an hour. It just kind of spewed out of me, and it was one of the most therapeutic moments I've ever had, ever. So it was really nice. I cried.
That sounds so cathartic. Yeah.
It really was, and it was necessary. I feel like I needed to do that to really close that chapter, and it felt amazing. It
Was
felt
that the moment that you felt like you got closure on that relationship?
100%, yeah.
So cool.
I felt like it was always just there, and I would randomly hear from that person, and it was just very difficult. So this song was my way of putting everything on the paper and just when I was recording it, I was crying. I mean, it was so emotional in general, the whole process. So it was really nice for me to have that as my first single because there is such a strong emotional attachment for me with that song. So it means a lot. It means a lot to me.
It sounds like you're reclaiming your identity and and it's all in your first song. You're telling your audience who you are, that's perfect.
Definitely. 100%.
So you were talking about how you felt like kind of lost yourself in this relationship and you didn't feel like yourself while you were in it. How did you go about reclaiming your identity after an experience like that?
It took a lot. It took a lot of internal work. I would meditate a lot. I would write a lot of songs. I mean, I've written so many songs since College Quits just because it's helped me kind of grow into the person that I am right now and become a stronger woman. So I think, meditating, I do yoga. I did a lot of self-reflection and self-work, and I would hang out with my family a ton. That's really important to me. I would read a lot of self-help books. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I absolutely love self-help books. I recommend them fully. And it just, I would spend a lot of me time alone because this was the first time I was moving into an apartment alone. I live alone now. And in the beginning of quarantine, living alone for all of quarantine, you really have to think about who you are, what you like, what your passions are, how you can grow, how you can be happy. So I think these were all things that my mind was just kind of racking up as I was living alone and I was stuck with my thoughts. And then my guitar is right in front of me all the time. I'm literally staring at it as we speak. So that was just such an easy and expressive outlet for me to use. And that's kind of helped me grow into who I am now. And it's just made me so much more powerful and strong and happy. Honestly, I'm just happier.
That's amazing. That's so great to hear. You sound,
Yeah. No,
the song sounds happy. You sound empowered and like you are in control of yourself.
yeah.
And that's really, it's impressive that you were able to get that across during the pandemic too, because I think we all felt really powerless. And you got to, and all of a sudden you were by yourself too. You really had to get to know, get to know who you were.
Myself, yeah. With myself, but it happened, and now I will date myself any day. I love it. So.
That's great. That's great. So you're talking about your guitar and how it feels like, it's just natural for you to go to that to get your express your feelings. Has it always been this way? When did you start playing guitar and getting your feelings out through music?
Yeah, so I started singing at a very early age. I mean, my dad was in a band when he was younger, so I kind of just always had it in my body, I feel like.
Okay.
I started singing at 5. I recorded my first song actually with my dad when I was 10, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I was super young, and then it was a really bad song too. Oh my God. And I would continue to write a bunch of music when I was younger, but they were bad. I mean, I was not a good songwriter at all. It was really tough, but I remember hearing like, just get it all out there, get the song out there, just finish it.
Yep.
So that was my whole intention behind every song that I wrote, even if I knew they were bad. I just wanted to finish it, so at least I got that thought out of my head. So I finished them at a super young age. I would start, my first performance was in 6th grade in front of like 600 people. And I was super nervous, obviously. I mean, music has always been my thing, but I did have to take a really big step back once I was in college, only because my physical health was super compromised. I was in Boston at the time. I attended Emerson College, and I mentally started going into a depression because my physical health was super compromised and no one knew what was wrong. I couldn't sing. I had no voice. I was sick all the time. So that really took a toll on me because, like I said before, writing music is something that's therapeutic. So when I don't have the ability to even sing a song, it takes a really big toll on me. So I did go through this really dark moment in my life, and music was not a part of my life for a while because I think I was just so emotionally detached from everything. And once my physical health got stronger and better, I ended up having to get specific surgery so I could sing again. And once that was healthy, once I was healthy and back to myself, I ended up going into that 3-year-long relationship. So there was a lull where I was super unhappy in life, but it was a very manipulative relationship. So I got to the point where I wasn't singing and I wasn't writing. And the second I moved back here, because I was in New York at the time when I was in the toxic relationship, by the time I moved back to Los Angeles, that's when everything just kind of hit me. I mean, I had already started playing guitar at an early age, but it was mainly just to write music. I wasn't a lead guitarist. It was more so to write melodies, top lines, lyrics. And as I moved back to Los Angeles, I was surrounded by my dad again. Music kind of just came back into my life, and it came in full force. I mean, I've gone through the industry starting at age 16 to like in my early 20s, and that's when it was like super prominent, and I got kind of through that emotional lull with the mental illness that I was going through. And then here I am. I mean, I feel like I finally got through that, and then everything just got stronger and stronger and stronger, including my songwriting skills, including my guitar skills, my vocals. So I think it just all worked out the right way. You know,
Hmm.
I feel
Everything
like
was meant to be.
yeah, exactly. Like things, in my opinion, happen for a reason, and I wouldn't be the musician I am today if I were 3 years ago. If I were doing this 4 years ago, whatever it was. Like I think it all happened for the right reasons, and I'm so glad that Call It Quits was my first debut single.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, that's quite a journey. That's
It was,
quite an emotional journey.
but I've lived a crazy life. But you know, you come out on top, and that's so important. You know, mental health is so important to me. Physical health is so important to me. Empowering people is extremely important to me, and that's why, you know, lyrically I try and show strength and empowerment. But then also there's weak moments. You know, I'm going through this weak toxic relationship. My whole goal of that is to turn that negative into something positive, because that's, you know, it's always possible. So that's important to me as an artist.
That's great. Yeah, always taking I don't know, it's taking something away from the pain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah, and that it comes through in the song too. It comes through that you feel. I mean, I feel like I keep saying the same word, but it feels like you found your power and your strength, and like that's amazing. So you said that you started recording this or writing this during the pandemic.
I did. Yeah, it was in March. It was
Oh
the
wow, right at the beginning, yeah.
yeah, it was like at the very end of March. So it was right in the beginning of everything. And that's, you know, when everyone was in this weird headspace. So I think it also allowed people in the music industry specifically to tap into the creative side of their brains. Because when you slow down, when everything around you slows down, you really have the ability to tap into parts of your body that you never even paid attention to. Because
Mm.
in the normal world, you'd be so focused on running errands or doing this or doing that. You have other priorities that when you finally get a moment to slow down and do nothing, that's when you can create something super magical. And that's important. I mean, I feel like a lot of people in the music industry are feeling that way right now.
Yeah, I think everyone's had a lot of time to sit with themselves and
Yeah.
priorities straight and everything.
Yeah, exactly. What, what makes you happy? You know,
Right,
that's important.
right. When you've got nothing to do, when you've got no thing to go, like it
Yeah.
becomes about like what do I really want to do when I can do anything?
What really matters.
Yeah.
Not just you're gonna order online. I mean, I'm sure people are doing that as well. Don't
Yes.
get me wrong. But you know, there's some deeper meaning behind everything going on right now, because you feel really small in the midst of a pandemic. So you can kind of tap into these feelings that you never really felt or paid attention to, you know.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at things. That's a really positive spin on a really terrible situation.
It's horrible, absolutely horrible. But I think it's a good moment for everyone to slow down and figure out what really matters to them, you
Yeah.
know.
So you were talking about how you went through, this tough breakup, and all of a sudden you saw your guitar and you felt the feelings, and you were like, oh, I just have to get this out. Is that normally how you choose what to sing or write about, or is it usually more of like I'm gonna like sit down and write music now?
There's a combination. There's definitely a combination of the two. For the most part, though, I would say the songs that I finish in a faster period of time, and in my opinion are better, are
Mm.
the ones that just come out of me, that, you know, I'll randomly be sitting around and I went through something yesterday, or like I met someone that sparked something in me. And that's when I'll write something that, you know, usually takes about 1 to 2 hours at most to just get it all out there. And those are the best songs. But I do also sit down and I think about what would make sense for me to write, what I would enjoy writing in that moment, what I've gone through. I typically write, actually I always write about something that I've experienced or something that I've gone through.
Hmm.
So it's always very deep and personal to me. So it's really like if I'm feeling those particular emotions that in that moment, that's what gives me inspiration to write a particular song.
Gotcha.
But I do both, for sure. You
Makes
know,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I am gonna. Oh, you were talking about your experiences younger and how you started music from a really young age.
Yeah,
And I uh, was reading that you were actually on American Idol when you were a teenager.
I was. Yeah. I
um,
was 16. It was a long time ago.
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure it feels like ages ago. But what? So I don't know. Tell me about that experience. That's a you made it past the Hollywood round. That's a legit accomplishment. You know.
yeah, no, it was honestly amazing. It was the first year that the judges were Randy Jackson, J Lo, and Steven Tyler.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, so I didn't sing in front of Simon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's a big change. Was that your dream
Yeah.
to sing in front of have Simon
Oh
judge?
yeah, I would love to sing in front of Simon. I'm nervous, but I would
That sounds
definitely.
terrifying. Yeah.
That's terrifying. But yeah, it was the first year that those were the three judges, and I never had any intention of trying out for American Idol because
Oh,
I have
really?
a specific sound. Yeah, I never intended on going on any of those shows. I mean, people would recommend it, or I'd randomly get an email saying, "Come try out here," or whatever. But I, in my opinion, have a specific sound that necessarily might not be the best fit for those kinds of shows because it's not
Sure.
like I can go sing a rock song. I don't have that kind of voice.
Mhm.
It's like I have a specific sound and
Yep.
but
Yep.
I was 16. This was like kind of the beginning moment of me like really going into the industry because a close friend of mine was with a big record label at the time, and he was a close family friend, and he actually heard a song that I recorded. It was the first like real song that I co-wrote and recorded with my first boyfriend ever in high school. And he heard that song and was like, I didn't know you could sing. You got to try out for American Idol. I'll like here like it's tomorrow. He literally told me the
Oh
day
wow.
before the audition, and I
Damn.
was like, what? And he's like, just do it, just do it. It's fine. Like I've already signed you up and everything. And I was like, okay, I guess I will. I don't know. I was like,
Wow. Damn. You went in with no prep and
oh, it
you
was
killed
crazy.
it.
I was like, what do I sing? What do I do? I was living at home with my parents. I was like,
Yeah.
God,
Sure.
I don't know what to do. I was freaking out. But I ended up picking, three songs just to be safe. And I originally had gone in to sing a Maroon 5 song
Okay.
Sunday morning. Well, you go through the rounds, before. But once I was in front of the judges, like after I had gotten through the preliminary rounds, then I was in front of the judges and I sang. They said, "What song are you singing?" I was like, "Maroon Sunday Morning" by Maroon 5, and they were like, "No, we've heard that too many times. Let's like pick something else." So then I, like as a 16-year-old, was like, "Oh my god!" So I like, racked my brain, did the second song. It ended up being a Colby Calais song, and then I also
Okay.
sang a Carrie Underwood song. And they gave me three yeses, and I got the yellow ticket. I still have it. A
Oh,
picture of
that's
my mom
awesome.
has a picture of it somewhere, but it was a crazy experience because I never really imagined myself in that scenario. And
Yeah.
so for me to just take that risk and take that leap, I think it was a good opportunity for me to kind of like test my limits a little
Hmm.
bit.
Yeah.
And I think once I did get cut, it was kind of difficult. I mean, I was 16 years old. And so to hear that rejection, it's hard.
I was gonna say, did that derail you for a minute, or was the initial success of even making it to the Hollywood round, did that
Yeah,
inspire you to do
that
more?
didn't derail me right away. Actually, I definitely continued to. I ended up doing a demo CD with a label right after that,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
I was definitely like full force into it. But I feel like there was a moment where it kind of turned me off to the music industry a little bit. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people feel like that in the beginning. You go through a lot of ups and downs in the music industry. I feel like I'm blessed that I even went through those opportunities because now I'm strong enough and I feel like I'm mature enough and I'm self-aware enough to the point where I know like what my worth is, where my talents are and what I'm capable of. And so I feel like I'm now finally at the point where I wouldn't necessarily get pushed around too much with the music industry because I can stand my ground more. Whereas when I was 16, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, it was so easy to manipulate me. I was naive, young. I didn't know. So I'm glad that it happened the way it did. And it was an amazing experience trying out for American Idol. It was really fun, honestly. And I met some great people that I'm still Instagram friends with.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. That's cute.
Yeah, no, it was a good experience for sure.
I'm sure it's a pretty eye-opening experience too. Kind of shows you what you're getting into.
Oh, definitely. I mean, staring into Steven Tyler's eyes, who's like my idol, I was like freaking out. But I loved him.
That's amazing.
And I winked at him while I was singing. I don't know what came over me.
Oh my god. That's amazing. That's ballsy. That took a little bit of confidence.
It was ballsy and I was freaking out. But I did it and he loved it.
It clearly worked, yeah.
Oh, it was a good time for sure. Good memories.
So what other music that you're listening to? You said you really like Steven Tyler. Must be a big Aerosmith fan.
The best voice of anyone I've ever heard. He's insanely talented.
That rough 70s voice. Yeah.
Insanely talented. Yeah. Other people that inspire me for sure. Top one would probably be Julia Michaels. I think she's probably one of the most talented songwriters in the music industry. And I admire that so much because obviously I write all my own music, and she has a really special way of being able to relay her emotions so clearly to the people listening to her songs, to the point where as a listener, I feel like I was in the room with her when she was going through that experience. So like that's important to me because that's what I want to relay to my listeners as well. Like I want them to understand the feelings and emotions I was feeling when I wrote it. And I feel like Julia Michaels does a really great job at that. And also her melodies are just so catchy, you can't stop. I mean, they just get stuck in your head so easily. And then I think Astrid S is definitely another top one. I love her. I think she's super talented. Also just a badass, It's like her music too is the kind of music that you just want to dance in front of the mirror to with like a comb as your
mic. I was gonna say get ready. It's get ready music. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Get ready for a girls' night out or whatever it is. Like that's the vibe that I feel with her, and I love that because it just makes me feel super energized and happy and excited, and that's kind of what I want people to feel with my music as well. With particular songs, I call it Quits. That's more upbeat and energetic. So like she has that kind of excitement with her sound that I want to relay as well. So it's kind of like the combination. Astrid S, Julia Michaels. I mean, Old Maroon 5. I love Old Maroon 5. I think every single song I know by absolute heart. I can sing every single one probably. Like begin to end, not miss a word.
Yeah.
They've always been an inspiration for me as a young girl, and so that's something that sticks with me definitely.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions I have. I just want to ask you what you have coming up next now. I know that you have a new single coming out on October 21st. Can you tell me about that a little bit?
I do, and I'm super excited. We actually just filmed the music video for that a couple weeks ago, and I just got the final cut right before I spoke to you this morning.
Oh, wow.
So I'm super pumped about it, and
still floating off the energy of hearing the master cut, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because this was another emotional moment for me when I wrote the song. It was actually when I was getting through my mental depression in Boston. And so this was kind of like a breaking point for me where I not only was ending it with the first love of my life, but I was also getting stronger from going through depression with my mental health. So this particular song is very deep and meaningful to me and personal. So I'm really excited to have everyone listen to it, and then the music video behind it too. There's a storyline of why we did what we did, and I'm really excited for you to watch it. But that will be released on October 21st, and then after that, monthly, I'll be releasing new singles.
Oh, amazing. Is this leading up to an album? Are you eventually putting out an album? I don't know if you can talk about that, but
Well, yeah, eventually that will be later down the road. For now, it's just going to be single after single after single for about 7 songs. But it's, yeah, because I want to wait a little bit. But the album is going to be right after all these singles. It's just, a lot to do before then, obviously, and every single means something to me. So I want to make sure I'm spending the right amount of time on it and the right amount of energy to release everything. So Burn is next. That's the next song. Next Wednesday on October 21st. And then, yeah, so keep an eye out. And I'm excited. Yeah, mark the calendars.
Thank you so much. That was really fun.
You guys, it was so nice virtually meeting you, and hopefully we all get to meet soon. Are you guys in LA, or where are you?
We're actually based out of Columbus right now.
Amazing.
Columbus, Ohio, putting on for the Midwest.
That's amazing. Well, you guys were awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully we get to do a lot of more of these moving forward.
I hope so too. Yeah. Well, enjoy your day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and look forward to Burn coming out.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. I hope you guys like it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your day, and thank you again.
Of course. Thank you, Juliana. Have a good one.
Bye, guys. You